Alright, we got a brand new in the box Predator 212. This is the non-hemi version, part number 69730. It's brand new, we've just been sitting around. I opened it when I got it just to make sure everything was okay. It hasn't had gas or oil in it. Let's unbox it, show you what all comes with it. I decided to do a whole series of videos on the Predator 212 just to get some of these more modern engine videos up. So I hope everybody's okay with that. I think I pretty much covered the old flatheads quite a bit, so if you want to see some old engines, go back on some of my older videos. So we're just going to take a little break from the old stuff and check out this Predator 212. I got a few other videos on there in the past of Predator 212s, but this is going to go into more detail hopefully. So hopefully this will help you out. This is kind of just what to expect out of the box and your first initial setup and test run of it, and just make sure everything's okay out of the box. That's pretty much all we're going to do in this video. Next video will go into a little bit more information. So let's get started. I'm going to get everything set out on the bench. Alright, so very basic stuff comes with it. You get a spark plug wrench, which we'll talk about more here in a minute. You got your book. Please check your book out. Go through everything in there. It gives you a lot of good information. Do this first. You should really be reading this book instead of watching this video. So with that being said, go ahead and get it out. Oh, that's nice. I love a new engine. You can't beat that. So, get all this plastic out of the way here. These don't ship with oil in it, no gas or nothing like that. There will be a residual amount of oil in it, so if you do check this and you see just a little bit of oil residue, they do run them at the factory to make sure everything's alright before they go out. You got a quick start guide here that shows you all the parts. If you're familiar with small engines, you should be able to skip most of this stuff. Unless you're just not familiar with this particular engine, then please look over everything. Before use, you want to fill gas here, and to avoid any warranty problems, you need to put fuel stabilizer in it. Also, before you put gas in it, put oil in it, and that should be number 1, that should be number 2. Oil is more important than gas. Without oil in it, it's not going to last. So, you get this little protector here. Be sure to remove this. This is the keyway that goes on there. It's really nice that they provide that with it. Just something you don't have to buy, especially if you're working on something new. You may not have parts to transfer over from an old engine. If you do, you're more than welcome to use that and put this up as a spare, or just go ahead and use a new one. But you want to remove it before the first start, unless you're putting a pulley or something on right now, because as soon as it starts up, this will going to turn into a bullet and potentially go through you. All that centrifugal force will sling it out, so you want to make sure you remove that. Same goes for electric motors too. Alright, everything appears to be good. You can crank it over just a little bit if you want to make sure it cranks over. It's not going to hurt nothing. Get your on off switch here. First thing we'll do is go and put some oil in it. And like I was saying, don't throw your book away. The first page tells you a lot of information you need to know about it. It holds 0.9 gallon of gas, a little bit less than a gallon of gas, and holds half a quart of oil. So this is the oil recommendations. I recommend 10W30 in pretty much any modern small engine. Now if it's going to be on a lawnmower or like a tiller, it's strictly going to be used in the summer. You can use SAE 30. Well, that'd be the only time for that, because you don't want to put SAE 30 in something that could potentially be started in the winter time when it's cold, because you lose that W property, or that when the oil's thinner when it's cold. So 10W30 is a good universal oil for pretty much any small engine. And it goes on and tells you all your other information, your valve clearance specs, which we'll be talking about in another video. Out of the box, it should be good. Should be no problems at all. Key weight's 3/16. That's the thread size for the bolt right here that goes in there. It's a very common bolt. It is a fine thread. Be sure to read all your safety stuff. Don't run your engine inside, and go from there. I will briefly talk about this in this video. There will be another video on this. You can change the jets out in the carburetor to make it leaner or richer depending on your altitude, or if you're doing more performance mods, you want to get a little bit richer mixture, you have to change the jets out. It's not adjustable. Your old engines had a screw on the bottom of the carburetor. If you turn it out to make it run a little bit richer, these are all fixed jets. Some of these do have a idle mixture adjustment. This one does not. It would be right here. If you see a screw where that plug is, that's what that would be for. You can adjust the idle speed using that screw right here. Adjust the idle speed, and also there's a screw right here that adjusts the high RPM. So when you give it full throttle, it's supposed to be set at 3,600 RPM, but you can fine tune that, especially if you're going to be using it on like a generator or something, so you can get your frequency right. So your spark plug's right here. This is your spark plug wire. And this wrench that comes with it fits your spark plug like this. You can put this through it. That's how you would unscrew your spark plug and tighten your new one in. No need to do it on a new engine. I'm just showing you what the tool is for. Make sure I put that back on there. If you notice these blue marks everywhere on here, they do this at the factory. You usually see them here as well, all these lines here and everything, because a lot of people modify these engines and that automatically voids the warranty. And if you just put a different type of air filter on it, so they do all just to help identify if it's been taken apart or anything. So that's what the markings are for, if you're wondering what that's for. All right, let's get some oil. All right, so you got two oil access ports or dipsticks. Both of them are removable. The only reason there's two is in case you put it on a piece of equipment, you can't get to one. You can always get to it. Like you can see, there's been oil in it from the factory. Obviously, it's fresh oil. They just put that in there for testing it to break them in a little bit. Right here is your drain plug. It's a 10mm bolt right here. That's your drain plug. So you need a long funnel like this just to help keep from spilling it everywhere. So I got 16 ounces of oil here, which is a half a quart. 32 ounces of oil in a quart. So you want to hold this up like this and keep from spilling it. Pour it slow. You don't want to spill oil everywhere. So it's a half a quart of oil, and you still want to check it after all drains in there just to make sure. That way you get the peace of mind that you know you got enough oil in it. Put that back in there, the oil drains out of it. So in theory, your oil should be right in the middle of this crosshatch. So we're going to check it without and screw it all the way in. So without screwing it all the way in, they put it right in the middle. If you screw it all the way in, it's going to be all the way up to the top. So if you're checking oil, you always want to wipe the dipstick off. Check it every time you run it. If you're just going to start it for a few minutes, see, with all the way in, it's all the way to the top. So pretty much as long as you got it on them crosses, you'll be fine. But it needs to be right in the middle when you put it in like that without screwing it in. You just barely want to snug it, don't want to go crazy on it. These engines are equipped with a low oil shutoff, but you can't rely on it 100%. At least I don't trust it myself, but in theory you can. This is part of the electronic ignition. This is your shutoff switch. If you're wiring in an external switch, what you would do, so this wire splits, one goes to the coil and one goes to this. Take the wire right here, cut it going into the switch. Then when that wire comes in contact with the ground, that shorts it out and kills the spark and shuts it off. So if you got a switch external, like on a key switch or something, you want to hook this into your ignition wire that would ground out to shut it off. No power goes to the ignition system. It generates its own power from magnets on the flywheel. So you just have to shut it off to kill the ignition source on these. You can wait to put oil in it until after you get it mounted on your piece of equipment, or mini bike or go-kart, whatever you're going to be using it on. But I just find it easier just to go and put it in there. That way it's off your mind. You know it's got oil in it, so you don't have to mess with that. And you also can check for any oil leaks. So if for some reason this gasket's not sealing or something, you would be noticing oil spilling out of it. So it's just kind of a good heads up to go ahead and do that, get it out of the way. I keep your switch off until you're actually ready to start it, just in case you accidentally pull it. Also note, don't put gas in it first before you put oil in it. And there's one reason for that. Like say I filled it up right out of the box and I had to go use the bathroom or something. If somebody else says, hey, there's a brand new engine, let's start it up. There ain't no oil in it, so you done ruined a brand new engine. So it's just something you always want to get in the habit of doing, putting that oil in first. I mounted on this test stand with only 2 bolts. When your piece of equipment, make sure you got all 4 bolts in it. Your bolt should look something similar to this. 5/16, half-inch wrench fits them. You can put them in either way, whatever works best on your piece of equipment. I usually try to put them in from the bottom and put the nut on the top. It doesn't matter. Every piece of equipment's going to be different. So we're not going to go into too much information on mount it. Just make sure And unless it's just on a test stand like this, make sure you got all 4 bolts in it. Because if that torque hits the engine or something, you can actually crack the aluminum if it's not mounted properly due to the block trying to flex or the frame flexing. So always make sure you got all 4 bolts in it when you got it under load. So now we got oil in it, it's mounted. For this, we're obviously just going to use the factory ignition switch. If you're putting it on a tiller or anything like that, or even a generator or something, you can probably just use the switch that's built in on it. If you're a piece of equipment, or if you're doing like a go-kart and you want like a safety switch or a key switch on it, you definitely want to wire it in before you actually take it for a drive or something. That way you can kill the engine real quick. If you're just testing it on the frame, you don't necessarily have to. As soon as you start putting the chain and clutch and everything on it, definitely want to wire it in. I'm not going to put a whole lot of gas in it, so it's not going to be used for anything besides making videos right now. You have a fuel shut-off valve on the carburetor. It don't really matter too much if it's on or off unless you're not going to be using it right now. That should be enough to get it going. Make sure you put your cap back on it. So you only have 5 controls on the engine. This is your throttle control, that's high speed. This is idle. This is your choke. Choke's off here, choke is on here. This is your fuel valve I was talking about. Your pull rope obviously, and your ignition switch over here. That's all the controls that's on it. So I always kind of do like a little challenge to get these to start on the first pull. So go ahead and turn the fuel valve on, let it start filling up. Choke's already set. I give it about a 1/4 throttle. Now if you're doing this on a go-kart or something, you want to start it with its idling. It always seems like the first start they always want a little bit of throttle, so don't have your chain and everything hooked up for your first start. So let's see what happens. Should be ready to go. Ignition's on. Ah. Pretty good little test start. Make sure it's going to run and everything. Lost the challenge today. Did not start on the first pull. It's got a little bit of, some of these will have a little bit of play in between the idle and where it starts actually giving it throttle. If I took it just a little bit past that and had a little bit more spring tension, it probably would have started on the first pull. Usually these will not start even hot unless you choke them. Let's just see what it does. So don't think something's wrong if yours don't start right back up, even when it's warm. You may have to give it a quick choke, pull it, and then turn the choke back off. Perfectly normal. Modern engines run very lean. This one seems to be like it's tuned in pretty good. A couple other things to mention. It does have a break-in period specified in the manual. You want to do about 3 hours of use. Don't apply a full load or maximum speed for, obviously we just tested it. It's okay for that, but don't run it for 3 hours with the maximum speed and the maximum load. Get it broke in a little bit. The maintenance break-in period, about 20 hours. You want to change your oil after 20 hours of use. So what they mainly mean by operational break-in is getting the rings seated in. So it is possible to see a little puff of smoke from it until after that 3 hour use is put on it. If it's smoking like crazy, even from the start, or starts smoking some, I'm talking about blue smoke, that's oil burning, you may have a defective engine. It's very rare because they do test these at the factory, but you never know. You know, there's a bad one in every batch. So, but yeah, make sure you change your oil after the 20 hours of use. We'll check the maintenance to see how often they recommend to change it after that. Also, in any type of emergency, just shut that switch to off. That'll kill it. Normally, you'd want to slide it down to idle, turn the engine off, and shut the fuel valve off. Or I recommend, if you're going to be storing it, which is what they're talking about in the storage, shut your fuel valve off, let the engine run until it dies on its own. That's burning up all the fuel in the carburetor bowl. And once it dies, shuts off completely, choke it, give it a little bit of throttle, and pull the rope. It may or may not start up. If it does, just let it die again. You can try to start it until it don't fire at all, and you know all the gas is out of the carburetor. It'd be safe for storage. You don't have to worry about gumming up the carburetor. I do recommend a fuel stabilizer in the gas for long time storage. There's a lot of good information here about maintenance intervals for when you need to change your oil. You check the engine oil before every use. Make sure there's no dirt on the outside of it. Monthly, you still need to check your engine oil, clean it. Change your engine oil monthly or after every 20 hours of use. If you keep up with that oil change, this engine's going to last a good long time. And it goes on the rest of your maintenance and everything. Like I said, please read this book that comes with it. This talks about your oil level, where it's supposed to be. This is talk about the different grades of oil. I actually put 5W30 in it just now because that's all I had. And I'd recommend the 10W30. That's your most universal type of oil it is. And if it's just going to be used in the summertime, you can get by with SAE30. That pretty much sums up all I'm going to show in the video, but please read this book. I can't stress it enough. So, alright, stay tuned for some more videos on this. This is video number 1. I'm not sure how many videos are going to be, but it can be between 10 and 20. I want to wear it out. So, if you hate Predator 212s, just kind of pop back in at a later time. But I haven't done anything small engine related for a while. I've been concentrating on some other stuff, and I apologize for that. I regret it. Hopefully, instead of monthly videos, we're going to do weekly videos for at least a few months going into the spring and early summer. We may just have to get back to every 2 weeks, depending on how things go. But I'm shooting for weekly videos for the summer of 2026. So, wish me luck, and stay tuned for some more content. Feel free to leave comments below. I try to answer comments when my video first goes up, within the first week or so, or when I put my next video up, I'll try to answer comments. I do not keep up with comments anymore. It's just overwhelming. I don't have time to do it. I apologize for that. I hope you understand. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end this video before it's probably way too long. I'm going to try to shoot for shorter videos, but this is kind of an intro video as well. So, hope you understand. So, catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.